going on, everybody? Joseph here for Worldwide Sport Updates, your podcast, your news, your local community.
Good morning, sports family. Thank you for tuning in to Worldwide Sport Updates, your podcast, your sports, your news, your local community. And this is your host, Joseph Hadid, here, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, July 18th, 2025, TGIF indeedy. As we wrap up this week, thank you for tuning in and joining us, folks. Hopefully everybody had a great work week and is ready for this upcoming weekend to relax, to meditate, to gather your thoughts, to relax, whatever it is you do, read a book, go out walking, jogging, take a walk at the beach, walk at the park, look at the sunset, listen to music, listen to birds, you name it, or barbecue for that matter. So it's whatever you do, folks, to stay active and busy and consistent. That's what it's all about. Staying positive, staying happy, and living life to its fullest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple announcements. Well, not a couple announcements. Well, we're going to go over what transpired in sports, of course, this past week, as we covered the NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, you name it. We have everything for you folks on what occurred in sports this past week, and we'll cover that for you. But before we do that, I just want to let you guys know that next week, I'm only going on a vacation for 1 week with the family, have a great time and stuff. So there will not be a podcast next Friday, folks. We will, however, resume in the beginning of August. So, till then, folks, enjoy. And again, sorry for all my subscribers, my followers who appreciate us, who always subscribe, comment, share it out, and show the love of what Worldwide Sports Updates is doing to staying strong and staying committed and dedicated. So with that being said, folks, we will not have a podcast next Friday. All right, sorry to disappoint, but I gotta take my niece and nephew on a vacation to New Jersey, to the beach, of course. And of course, for myself, I'm probably gonna be jet skiing all over Atlantic Ocean. So we'll see how that goes. But maybe we'll talk about it on my following week on my podcast and tell you how my eventful vacation went, my amazing vacation went up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. All right, with that being said, folks, let's go over and what transpired in sports this past week. We're going to start off with some NBA news. Damian Lillard's surprising return to the Portland Trail Blazers. Yes, that announcement just came. I think it was yesterday, I believe. The buzz came out that Damian Lillard is returning back home, folks. And I think it was a 3-year deal, but let's get right into it, though. The NBA landscape was rocked, ladies and gentlemen, during the week of July 11th through the 18th, 2025, when superstar guard Damian Lillard announced he would rejoin the Portland Trail Blazers. This move marked a dramatic shift in free agency season, already defined by blockbuster trades and high-profile signings. Damian Lillard, a franchise icon and 7-time All-Star, had spent more than a decade leading the Blazers, including several deep playoff runs and countless clutch performances. So, awesome stuff for Damian Lillard to go back and possibly, you never know what his mindset could be. He could possibly finish his career in Portland moving forward. But folks, with that being said, though, I believe he signed a if I could pull up that information for you, he signed a 3-year deal with the Portland Trail Blazers. Yeah, it was a 3-year deal, $42 million, returning back home to Portland. So I don't know. What does this mean? Will he possibly get one more championship in Portland before it's all said and done? within those 3 years, it's all or nothing for Damian Lillard. All right, let's shift over to some. Actually, we got more information. Sorry about that. Let's talk about free agency developments. Lillard wasn't the only marquee name on the move that week. Bradley Beal agreed to a buyout with Phoenix, then joined the Los Angeles Clippers on a 2-year deal, signaling a major roster overhaul for both franchises. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder locked down their emerging star Jalen Williams with a maximum extension, pushing the limits of their payroll, but reasserting the club's commitment to its young core after a title-winning season. Another notable free agency stories included, ladies and gentlemen, the announcement of a 10% increase in the NBA's salary cap for the 2025-2026 season, giving teams more flexibility to pursue high-value free agents and extended key players. A flurry of mid-tier signings as teams jostled to fill rotation spots, with veterans and new faces swapping teams in a dynamic and competitive market. Also, we got summer league highlights to go over with you. Adding to the excitement was the NBA 2K26 Summer League in Las Vegas, a showcase for rookies and prospects. Several games were decided by razor-thin margins, and standout performances by first-year players earned considerable attention. Notably, new Brooklyn Nets draftee Igor Damian debuted with a promising range, while the Pacers pulled off a signature comeback win. The impact and the outlook of Damian Lillard's decision was reignited optimism among Portland fans and energized a Western Conference long dominated by superstar moves. As the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, prepares for its upcoming season, the balance of power remains in flux, and much now hinges on how Lillard adapts to a retooled Blazers lineup. His leadership and legacy in the city, cemented by loyal fans, ensuring every Blazers game this season will be must-see basketball. All right, let's shift over to some NHL hockey news. The 2025-2026 schedule release and off-season shakeups. The season structure and highlights. The new schedule includes 1,312 games and officially starts on October 7th with a nationally televised triple header, including the defending champion Florida Panthers raising their Stanley Cup banner against the Chicago Blackhawks. The season will pause in February for the Olympic Winter Games in Milano Cortina in 2026, marking the return of NHL players to the Olympics for the first time in over a decade. Marquee matchups include Mitch Marner's first return to the Toronto, Canada, as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. So that he'll be returning to Toronto as a member of the Golden Knights, as well as a rematch of the recent Stanley Cup Finals between the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Off-season trades and roster moves. A headline-grabbing trade saw the Dallas Stars send defensive man Matt Dumba and a second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins, primarily as a salary cap maneuver. Dumba's performance has slipped recently, but the rebuilding Penguins saw value in accumulating draft assets, with potential to flip Dumba again at the deadline if his play improves. Elsewhere, the Colorado Avalanche re-signed veteran defensive man Josh Manson, securing defensive stability. Top draft pick Matthew Schaefer could make his professional debut on October 9th, possibly facing off against the future Hall of Famer Cindy Crosby. And here's the future outlook, with the Florida Panthers going for their third consecutive title, and new stars like Schaefer angling for debuts against legendary opponents. The new NHL season promises high drama. Off-season moves have positioned teams for strategic flexibility, and the international spotlight of the Olympics adds a unique mid-season wrinkle to team planning and player fatigue. Let's shift over to some NFL news. National Football League, as the season gets closer to preseason here. All right, training camp kicks off and the rise of flag football. Training camp storylines. Teams timed the arrival of rookies and veterans to maximize preparation, with the Los Angeles Chargers, Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys among the first to open training camp. The quarterback competition for the Cleveland Browns has become a focal point, with Joe Flacco, veteran Kenny Pickett, and high draft picks vying for the starting spot. Rookie debuts and player comebacks were widely anticipated, with fans and analysts eager to see which storylines would dominate as rosters take shape, depth charts crystallize, and preseason narratives set the table for years to come. The NFL Flag Championship, Canton hosted youth teams from across the United States and the globe, for the NFL Flag Championships, with games broadcast on major networks and streaming platforms. A testament to flag football, rapid ascent, and a preview of its Olympic potential. The event drew competitors from over 125 countries and featured divisions from youth to high school, further cementing the NFL's push to globalize the sport and inspire a new generation of athletes. League developments. Beyond the camps and youth competition, teams began preparing for preseason games and critical roster decisions. With the trade and free agency market still active, the confluence, ladies and gentlemen, of old veterans, ambitious rookies, and expanding youth innovatives punctuated a dynamic period for football in America. Let's shift over to some Major League Baseball news. All-Star break buzz and the trade deadline are maneuvering. Trade deadline rumblings with many teams in playoff contention. The Boston Red Sox removed Alex Bregman from the trading block, while the Milwaukee Brewers opted to retain star pitcher Freddie Peralta. Sorry for mispronouncing that name. The Miami Marlins, Sandy Alcantara, remained a hot commodity, drawing interest despite a poor ERA, illustrating the dearth of quality starters on the market. The Arizona Diamondbacks signaled their intent to be sellers, putting all-star third baseman Eugenio Suarez and the productive Josh Naylor on the market. The Yankees openly aggressive prioritized starting pitching and third base upgrades, with general manager Brian Cashman hinting at an all-in approach to not waste another peak season from Aaron Judge. The Mets similarly eyed bullpen and center field reinforcements as their rotation faced injury woes. Notable moves and rumors. The recent trades included Dan Dunning's move to the Braves for Jose Ruiz, with Adam Frazier heading to the Royals, a sign that teams are working early to shore up depth ahead of the deadline. Scouts suggested that the Royals were likely to stand pat, while the Cubs could emerge as the most aggressive buyers as they chase home field advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this week. I will see you in 2 weeks on our recorded podcast, as next week there will not be a podcast as I am on vacation for 1 week to spend time with the family. Take care, YouTube family. Take care, sports family. Look out for each other. Until then, we will see you in 2 weeks. Stay safe, stay blessed, and take care of each other. This is your host, Joseph Hadid, for Worldwide Sport Updates. Your podcast, your sports, your news, your local community. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye for now.